I'm just looking at some of the headlines from this as well. I mean, obviously we know about the tightness of the labour market, in certain cases feeding into wage increases here, but nothing I would suggest in these headlines that give us anything to worry about on the inflation front, which is kind of what we're looking at here.
Right, exactly. So it's all about inflation and especially the wage pass-through effect into inflation. And one interesting headline I saw here, many companies offered higher wages where the shortages were most severe. And so this is evidence of this long narrative of the Phillips curve flattening out, but the relationship hasn't completely broken apart. It's just a much flatter relationship than in past economic cycles. And it's telling you that finally we're getting to the point where we have widespread labor shortages, and that is starting to result in some wage pressure. So an ongoing narrative from some Fed officials has been that they're talking to the business contacts in their district, and everyone's complaining about a shortage of labor. First it was skilled labor, now it's labor more broadly. And then they were asked, well, are you offering higher wages to deal with this? And the response was always no. Finally, it appears that is changing, and as employers eventually get desperate enough, they will offer higher wages to attract the talent.
So it should follow that U3 and U6 should eventually start to come down as well, and we'll see those wage pressures build up.
Right. I think that's the story for 2017, really. Maybe not necessarily in the first half of the year, maybe not in Friday's report, but over the next couple of months, with the unemployment rate now in low 4% territory, you're going to see more pronounced wage pressures.
Mike McKee was joking earlier that every Beige Book seems to make full use of the word moderate, and that's kind of what we got here as well in today's headlines. I know that Bloomberg puts together its own version of an anecdotal survey of conditions across the country, the Orange Book.
Right.
How does the Beige Book dovetail with what we found in the Orange Book?
Well, Rich Amarone's Orange Book, he's the guy compiling the Orange Book, is basically, whether it's the Orange Book or the Beige Book, they're both trying to accomplish the same thing, which is seeing if, as Yogi Berra joked about theory and practice, if theory and practice are in agreement. And so the Fed has these elaborate models for the economy, but they like to take a step into the real world, talk to business contacts and whatnot, and see if they're actually seeing confirmation of what their models are suggesting, and that's what both the Orange and Beige Books do.
I want to point to something else here, and they say that the consumer spending softened, auto slipped from 2016 highs, and it's something that Lael Brainard said to us yesterday, just that focus now on what's going on in the auto loan market in particular. I know you've got a chart here too, and we've got data tomorrow to watch also.
Right, so what we've been focusing on, because there's this belief in the auto sector that we've hit peak autos for the cycle, and so what I did with my colleagues was look back to past economic cycles to see if auto sales, which are typically an early cycle engine of economic growth, when they peak out, does that mean that consumer spending then downshifts? Because consumer spending has been the dominant engine of the economy in this cycle. And so if they're tapping out, then we're not going to see the acceleration that so many economists, myself included, are anticipating. But what we found was in past cycles, just because you hit peak autos and maybe auto sales leveled out or declined modestly after that, did not mean that consumer spending retrenched as well. So we can see other types of consumer spending supporting that momentum. And we joke about modest to moderate in the Beige Book, but that has been the economic profile. Over the last 8 years, we've been stuck in this 2% growth paradigm.
It's been remarkably consistent. Carl Riccadonna.
Wage pressures can change that.
Okay, we'll see. We'll see.